I was hoping to talk about the Black Dahlia Murder Christmas special, and I still plan to, but it's not online anywhere, even though the band said it would be. Like, it's not on Netflix and it's not on Disney Plus. Granted, I did not expect it to be on Disney Plus, but I did expect it to be somewhere. Looks like I'm gonna have to just go ahead and buy the fucking thing, which is honestly fine by me.
Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Just want to make a little announcement before we officially get started. We're streaming live Friday, November 19th, Bayonetta 3 drinking game. Why not? Everyone's talking about God of War, Pokemon, screw it. I'd rather talk about Bayonetta. Those games are great. Not talking shit about those games, for the record. But I'm kind of in the mood for some Bayonetta personally, so why not? We're going to shoot the shit, drink, have fun, talk about music and movies and video games, and we are going to do so starting at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Metal Meltdown. Once again, Friday, November 19th. Be there or be very square. Booyah! Now that that's out of the way, let's officially start talking about Endless Hallways, the latest studio album and the 7th overall from Is Legennd, a severely overlooked and underappreciated band. Their first two albums are hidden gems of the 2000s metalcore and post-hardcore scene and explosion. Later albums like It Hates Us, Heavy Fruit, and Fuse saw the band experimenting with hard rock and heavy metal and alternative metal and southern rock as well, getting moodier, getting darker, getting more versatile, but also getting more raucous, more energetic. Like their previous studio album, 2019's White Bat, what a rager. Just cram-packed like a can of sardines with nothing but filthy, sleazy, gnarly bangers and jams. And honestly, Endless Hallway is no exception. Another thrilling, versatile display from one of America's most underrated rock and metal crews. Possibly their most refined and their most cohesive album to date. It definitely feels like a culmination of everything we've seen from He Is Legennd up to this point. It even reintroduces some heavier riffs and guitar tones that, in theory, wouldn't have been out of place on an early record. Opening track, The Prowler, for instance, has some pounding metalcore riffs with some jagged percussion, further rocket-propelled by a kind of energy and swagger that I would expect of a rock band like maybe Monster Truck. It's kind of punky, it's kind of raucous, it's got a really strong chorus, it's really anthemic and catchy. The whole thing just like reeks of piss and vinegar and moonshine, but in a surprisingly very pleasant and accessible way. There's a lot of confidence and charisma and attitude in the lyricism as well, as Skylar Kroom writes, "Apples, peaches, pumpkin pie, if you ain't ready, better testify. Rotten core, my seeds are slime. I'm unhealable to most, but baby, give me time." The way the track closes true by combining like these howling, deep-fried melodies with like slow, lurching, sludgy breakdowns, honestly kind of fantastic. Then there's the following track, Lifeless Lemonade, which switches things up by being a significantly more bitter and brutal track, not just lyrically, but sonically as well. There are a lot of muscular, chunky grooves and like gnarly percussive beatdowns and like these weird guitar tones and effects that, honest to God, would not be out of place on like a classic Gojira number. It almost kind of feels like what we've been seeing from Gojira as of late with stuff like Our Time Is Now and especially like the Fortitude album from last year, but with like way more hard rock flavor and seasoning. Then there's Honey from the Hive, which goes full-blown sludge punk, honestly, with some aggressive tempos and some frantic, chaotic kind of metal riffery. There are some angsty, eerie guitar licks and tones and melodies all throughout that work really well alongside the large, soulful chorus. The track Circus Circus sounds like somebody literally going insane in an actual circus. Like you have these really exaggerated kind of like rapped spoken word style vocals where it's like, well, a hound down doogity, a doogity dee. Like it almost feels like the kind of like mumbo jumbo cornball nonsense I would expect from a Rob Zombie number. A lot of whispered vocals, a lot of screamed vocals on top of a more atypical He Is Legennd soulful chorus. A lot of energy here too, like a lot of chunky pounding riffs and twin guitar wizardry and such. There is a full-on descent into mid-2000s like metalcore brutality that I found genuinely really effective, and this is coming from somebody who's kind of hit and miss on the 2000s metalcore scene. Time's Fake has one of the best lead riffs I've ever heard on a He Is Legennd record, and honestly, one of the best riffs I think I've heard all year. I mean, this kind of has the feel and the vibe of like a Lamb of God riff, or maybe like something from classic Megadeth, but just like deep fried and smothered in barbecue sauce. Really love the closing track, Lord Slug 2, which is this like really moody, evocative kind of like alt metal sludge ballad with these massive sprawling riffs and, you know, these really powerful vocals. Like, it's a great way to close out Endless Hallway. I'm really impressed with how He Is Legennd have compiled so many different ideas and spices and ingredients from across their discography into something that feels cohesive and mature and refined. Like, you have the metalcore, you have the southern stuff, the alt rock and the alt metal stuff, the hard rock and the heavy metal stuff. You have a lot of technical riffery, like a lot of like really complex songwriting, but also some really great simplistic hooks. It's kind of fantastic in that regard. The production too does a really good job at giving everything an equal amount of time in the spotlight. Nothing feels like buried or like tucked away. Nothing has been swallowed by the chaos and the energy and the emotion that is often kind of crawling out of every orifice here. No fat, no filler, no complaints from me whatsoever. I think I would personally like to see a few more twists and turns, but I mean, all things considered, very, very, very strong, very enthusiastic 4 out of 5 here. I really like this album, man. From start to finish, I just had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was cool as shit. Super well made. While stylistically very different, it does remind me a lot of the recent records from Cancer Bats and Moontooth, respectively, released earlier this year. I left those records feeling just like really happy and really pumped, and that's how I feel leaving this record as well. Sometimes I want something that's just gonna bash my brains in, like the new Undeath or the new Rip to Shreds. Sometimes I want something that's really technical and experimental, like the new Bloodhouse Nord or the new Imperial Triumphant. And sometimes I just want to fucking rock the goddamn fuck out, and that's exactly what He Is Legennd is for. If you also would like to rock the goddamn fuck out, I would recommend you check out this record. If you've never heard of He Is Legennd, this is a great place to start your journey in learning more about this band, because again, there's so much from across their discography brought here onto this one album. I don't see any reason why a longtime fan would be especially upset, unless you're just kind of bored with He Is Legennd and what they do, but if that were the case, you probably wouldn't have tuned in, so I'm not concerned. Yeah, man, it's just great. It's fun. If you like fun, you'll probably like this record. 4 out of 5. Yeah, how many more times can I say it? It's great. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be. So what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.